brand new Caribbean Sea is here, and we're going to take a look at what it has to offer. So starting with, obviously, the map itself is going to be amazing. I think this looks absolutely beautiful, but the reason we're currently on this profile here, as you can see, we're on BlueStacks, because we're on the Liberation server, because I did want to show you guys the brand new collection level skin bonus sort of image thing. So something very simple, as you know, in the most recent update, it went all the way up to 150. So we already know what it looks like going up to 130. Now we're going to see what 140 and 150 is. So 140, guys, as we can see here, is the sort of red one. I don't know 100% if this is new. I think this might already be in there at 140. But if you have a look here at 150, we now get the Renowned Curator. And I think this looks pretty cool. But again, am I ever going to get it? Never in my life. But one thing I want to know is who is going to be the first person to hit this? Who do you think is going to be the first person to hit it? I'm actually curious. Now, while on this Liberation server, I thought we'd try and have a look to see if we can see the rankings over here. And currently, the biggest is 115. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, the main server is definitely a lot bigger, but what do you guys think about this? Who do you think is going to be the first ever person on the main server to actually hit it? Now let's jump on back to the normal Warpath and take a look here at the actual new level 4. So here we are with the brand new map. Now this map honestly is looking like it's going to be my favorite. So prior to this, you got to think of this as a mixture. It is a baby between Agency and between Rome. I don't know if any of you are OGs that played on the ground only maps, but if you are not and you are obviously a newer player, there was a map before called Rome where you had these air only places and they have returned. So these command rigs are basically a section of the map where only air units can go. You cannot take in your units. The only thing that can enter them are your planes. So with regards to your planes being the only thing that can go in there, you could obviously have basically air battles in this location. Now, obviously, anyone can go in there at any time, but the actual events themselves only open up every 2 days, I think it is. Very similar to how currently in Hawaii, you have the melee zones. Very identical thing, except this is going to be for your air. So what would happen is these will open up, you know, gradually over time. So you got 13 hours, 13 hours, 13. You got 13 and 5, 13, 5, 13, 5. And in the middle's at 13, 15. So obviously these different things open up and you're going to need to use fighters to kill, obviously, the Raven fighters, but also probably other enemy fighters. And then you're going to need the bombers to bomb these buildings to obviously gain the points as well. And then these points will also eventually open up here and you'll be able to bomb and basically take these, and whoever lands the killing strike. So maybe that has changed, but I'm pretty sure it's not. But basically, one alliance could go through and destroy 99.999% of this building's HP. And another alliance that has never touched it could come through and do the final bombing strike on here and gain all the points. So you got to be careful for that, guys. Make sure that your alliance is on point and ready to capture it. So with that, there is obviously going to be multiple of these. So if we quickly go into here, the combat zone, you could see that they're pretty spread out. So this map in general, guys, to me looks beautiful. Technically speaking, you don't ever need to go into the ocean, but at the same time, the ocean is there if you want to obviously go in there with your naval units. Now, obviously, you can then attack all of these different air places from within land. But of course, you're probably going to want to be in your naval setup anyway to have your max wrenches into your air units. But of course, the map itself, I think, is amazing. Now, the way this is going to work, it is only going to be based on your commander contribution, your alliance contribution. It's very similar to how it works in Agency. In Agency, obviously, you have the factions. The factions is returning, but there is something slightly different with how the teams are generated on here. Instead of it being that you have, for example, 4 of the highest alliances and then 4 of the weaker alliances, and then you had to have 2 of the strong alliances, 2 of the weaker alliances on one team. it's now a draft-based system. So the strongest team will not choose first. It will actually be the second team. The second strongest team will end up choosing first, and they'll get to choose 2 teams that they wish to have. There will then be the other team that is the strongest team will choose the next 2 options, and then it will be the last team will choose the final one, and then the other one will choose the final one, or be given the final one. So that is kind of how it is going to work in this new draft-based system. And again, it all goes off of the repute points of the different places you own, the different places you capture, and so forth. Now, obviously, the rewards will be different depending on the level you're in. I believe this account here is in a very low level, but of course, it does mean that, you know, you're going to get rewards based on whether you win or whether you lost. It's very, very simple, if I'm honest with you. The command contribution is the same as well. You, depending on where you are, depends on what you gain. Obviously, in them higher leagues, you'll end up gaining the golden statues and other stuff as well. Fighter machine, identical, you'll end up getting different things. One thing I always liked about the factions was you also got the simulation coupons. This was really, really good. You get a lot of them back in the day when it was agency multiple times due to the very low amount of naval maps. Now, surprise attack has returned in this mode as well. We have the operation expertise. Now, one new thing, guys, because the air combat zones, some people might not have air units. And they're going to be like, well, that's not very fair. I don't have an air unit. Well, now you do, because everyone is able to get an air unit, whether it be a Liberty bomber, whether it be a Vanguard fighter, or whether it be a Marty fighter. You can choose one of these to have. Now, with obviously having one of these available, they are at 7.2. They also come with 100 wrenches maxed out. So it is actually beneficial for you guys to be using at least one of these units, because then you'll probably be able to use the advantage of having 100 free wrenches in your plane. Now, the bomber itself does deal damage. It says here, it uses EMP munitions to paralyze enemy ground force troops with extreme precision. I'm not sure why it says paralyze them. It literally does kill units. It's not like it doesn't do any damage. It says here, it deals damage up to 6 enemy troops within 2 map grids of the target. These troops take 80% of the bomb's damage and deals 10% less damage for 5 seconds. This effect cannot stack. Then it also has the bombing runs reduce their target's speed by 50%, so that's pretty strong. The bombs reduce their target's damage resist by 10%. This effect also applies to bombs that inflicted it, but do not stack. And then the number of troops that can be hit by the bomber is increased to 8. So again, this comes down to the tech. So you have a tech tree where you're able to obviously upgrade and improve different units. The way you get these is by spending the Caelium. I think that's how you pronounce it. The way you get the Caelium is, of course, either spending loads of money. The alternative way to get them as well is going to be through obviously the different versions, like you have battle passes and stuff like that. You'll also be able to get them by building the same way in Cairo. I can't remember what map it is with the naval, but you can actually build yourself the little refinery, and this refinery obviously allows you to basically generate it over time. And when you generate it, you can then basically go in here and exchange it for the stuff. Now, obviously, with regards to this, you have your different variations. You've got the 3 units or your standard. Now, you do need to complete each one of these to be able to move on to the next section. The same way, if you want to get this done, you have to complete all of these. So these are obviously worth 1 each. So 3, 6, 9, 12. And then this is going to be 10 points. So therefore, you need 22 points. But they basically just improve the air units in general. So obviously, that is one thing you can take into consideration. If you don't have an air unit, this is definitely going to really, really help for that. Now, we do have Dune Special Ops, okay? I honestly am brand new to this. This was not in the original. It says here that during the Conquest, you can train Air Force troops and enhance their combat abilities through Dune Special Ops in your hangars. Dune Special Ops training Air Force costs Caelium. Training 1 reserve unit costs an additional 60 Caelium. So that's quite a lot of Caelium if you ask me. Dune Special Ops operates independently for each hangar. So if you activate it, you can't activate it for obviously all of them. it is going to be a little bit of a difference. So yeah, this is something that's brand new, and it does look like that you just gain damage intensity, damage resist. But going back to the units themselves, guys, obviously I showed you the bomber. So this is basically a Liberty bomber, if you think of it that way. This is the Vortex here. So what this does is, other than its main target, the Vortex can fire laser beams up to 2 other enemy Air Force troops within its firing range with every 8 seconds. Each laser beam deals damage equal to 3.2 seconds worth of normal damage. It's decently strong, so basically you can attack up to 3 units at once. Moving on here, you have the damage of the Vortex deals to its secondary targets is increased to 4.8 seconds worth of normal attack. So basically almost 5 seconds worth of damage, which is really nice. The Vortex attacks reduce the damage resist of their targets by 1%, and this can stack up to 10 times and last for 20 seconds. So, you know, 10% reduction to the enemy is also pretty nice. And finally, increases the number of maximum secondary targets by 1. So you can end up attacking up to 4 with 3 extra secondaries. Now, finally, the Marty Fighter. The Marty Fighter here is basically a defensive one. The Wisp Spin reduces the firepower of all enemy fighter planes within its firing range by 10%. This effect cannot stack. So pretty much anyone who is within your area will have their reduced by 10%. But if you had 2 different fighter planes within the same area, it's not going to be 10% from this fighter, 10% from that. They don't stack, unfortunately. So that's something you need to take into consideration. Enemy fighter planes will prioritize Whisper Wind when selecting a target to attack. So, as you guys already know, when you go in for an attack, normally you go in, you send your damage fighter in first, your offensive fighter in second. And quite honestly, a lot of the time, they will try and switch targets, go for your main offensive fighter, leaving you vulnerable. This makes it so that all fighters that are within range will target this unit, which is kind of cool. So, you know, especially for your defensive officers on there, it's going to be a very, very strong unit. The Whisper Wind can take at most 10% of its max HP damage within 3.5 seconds. This effect can trigger once every 120 seconds. So basically every 120 seconds, guys, you, especially if you're going against, let's say you know you're going to be attacking a very strong section, you can send your unit in and then obviously pull it out. But for 3.5 seconds, you will only take a maximum of 10%. So let's say normally if you used to send your plane in and it dies within 3 seconds, well, now it will last and have 90% of its HP left, which is still kind of cool if you ask me. I think that's pretty decent. And then finally, the Whisper Wind reduces the bombing damage of enemy bombers within effective range. The higher the harass capability, the more it weakens the bomber's damage of the target troop. This effect cannot stack. So again, nothing special on that one, in my personal opinion. But one thing to take into consideration, whenever you get this unit, okay, guys, whenever you do gain this unit, the unit itself comes with maxed out parts. By maxed out parts, I mean it's gold plus at the lowest level. So as we know here with units, exclusive part, and it cannot be unequipped or replaced, meaning you're kind of stuck at the 1184. Okay, you can't change them. It's what comes with the unit. The only thing you can change is the auxiliary system parts. Now, obviously, if you have better parts for this unit, it's going to be a little bit of downgrade, but of course the units themselves have upgrades and newer, bigger buffs on them. So you're guaranteed a gold plus, but it is going to be the lowest level of that. So that is one thing you need to take into consideration. And the wrenches is already guaranteed at 100 for that unit only. And of course, once you upgrade, you basically have a head start with some of them wrenches, which is really, really nice in my personal opinion. Other than that, though, obviously, you can see here that you can get all the way to the middle and anywhere pretty quickly. Now, the outside is very similar to Moscow, guys, if you think about it, okay? Now, yes, you do have, obviously, the zones here, which, again, is basically... In this one, we can see there is a total of 2 alliances per safe zone. I do believe this L4 were in here because it's Silver 2. It actually comes with 8 alliances on each team. So if we go down here, we will see that we have 2 alliances per safe zone. But I'm pretty sure, you know, the same as in the other ones, when you're in gold and that, you'll only have 1 per safe zone. But the safe zones, all safe zones can be reached at any point within the game. By the looks of this, there is no limit to when you can go around them. But eventually the next zone will open and you can go anywhere around it. And then finally the middle will open. But all of it is connected by land. You do not need to go into the water if you don't want to. But, you know, Navy's still pretty cool. So, yeah, what do you guys think of this? In my personal opinion, I think it's great. We've got Rome back. We've got the air sections back as well. Not only do we have the air sections back, we have the planes returning. I always loved Rome. I thought it was very, very good. I like the faction system, if I'm honest with you. I think the faction system is really, really good. But to have, you know, a mixture of agency and Rome all coming into one, I have really high hopes for this, if I'm honest with you. That's just me personally. Let me know what you think down below. Is this something you're going to be interested in? Do you like the look of the map? Do you like the air system? Do you like the fact that you can get yourself a free air unit? You know, of course, you do need to use and do upgrade here. And if you want to max it out, let's be honest, guys, you know damn well that you're going to need to be spending money if you want to max it out. But obviously, every single one of these conquest things will give you stuff to be able to upgrade it. So it's not going to be impossible to get some levels done, but maxing it out is not going to be possible, of course. Let me know what you think, guys. As I said, I really like the design of this map. I think it looks really, really good. I love that we don't need to go to the water. I actually enjoy the water personally, but if you don't like the water, of course, it's not going to be the end of the world. You can get around without having to go into it. Thank you so much for everyone tuning into this video. Let us know down in the comments if this is something you think you're going to enjoy or not. And also, if you check the link down in the description, I am offering coaching for anyone who wants to get their account set up and ready for such an event. I appreciate and love you all, guys. Hope everyone has a beautiful and amazing day, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone.